The silence breaks. The message arrived on a Tuesday, though time meant little in the depths of space. Admiral Vextara's scales rippled with unease as she stared at the holographic display floating before her command chair. The transmission was simple, just 23 words in the old human language, but it carried the weight of a dying star. We gave you peace. You chose extinction. Now you will learn what patience can build. The gardens are waking. For 150 years, humanity had been silent. The galaxy had moved on, convinced that the troublesome species had finally been cleansed from existence. The Galactic Confederation, composed of 12 advanced alien races, had declared, the human problem solved. Their worlds were ash, their ships destroyed, their colonies scattered to cosmic dust. Or so they believed. Vextara's second in command, a crystalline being named Shalvex, resonated with concern. Admiral, the message signature is definitely human origin. But that's impossible. We witnessed their final ship burning near Proxima Centauri. The Admiral's inner eyelids closed briefly, a sign of deep thought among her reptilian people. She remembered the Great Purge, when the Confederation had decided humanity was too dangerous to coexist with other species. Humans were too adaptable, too creative, too willing to find solutions where others saw only problems. They asked uncomfortable questions about the Confederation's rigid hierarchy and challenged ancient traditions with their relentless innovation. Trace the signal's origin, she commanded, her voice carrying the authority of 3 decades in command. Admiral Shalvex hesitated. The signal didn't originate from one location. It came from everywhere. Every abandoned human outpost, every dead colony, every system they once inhabited, all transmitting simultaneously. A chill ran through the bridge crew. How could dead worlds send messages? Meanwhile, deep beneath the surface of Earth, Captain Sarah Chen stood in the Central Command Chamber of New Geneva, humanity's largest underground city. Around her, holographic displays showed the status of hidden colonies scattered across the galaxy. Each one had survived the purge by going dark, by playing dead while they prepared for this moment. Sarah was only 35, but she carried the wisdom of someone who had grown up knowing her species was supposed to be extinct. Her grandmother had been among the architects of humanity's greatest deception, the false extinction protocol. While alien fleets burned empty cities and destroyed unmanned ships, real humans had retreated into carefully prepared sanctuaries, waiting for the right moment to reveal their survival. Report from the outer colonies. Sarah asked her communications officer. All 743 hidden settlements are online, Captain. The Lazarus stations are responding. Operation Phoenix is ready to begin. Dr. Marcus Webb, now in his 70s but still sharp as quantum steel, approached Sarah with excitement barely contained in his aged frame. He had been young when the Confederation declared war on humanity, but his brilliant mind had conceived the defense systems that would soon reshape the galaxy. Sarah, the quantum resonance chambers are at full power. 150 years of preparation, and every calculation is holding true. The Gardner arrays are responding to the activation codes. Sarah nodded, remembering the stories her grandmother had told her about the old days, when humans had lived openly among the stars. They had been explorers then, teachers and healers. They had shared their knowledge freely and asked for nothing but the chance to learn in return. The galaxy had repaid their generosity with genocide. On the Confederation flagship, alarms began. Sounding sensor arrays across 12 different worlds were detecting massive energy signatures in the deep void of space. Objects that had been invisible for over a century were suddenly appearing on every scanner. "Admiral," the tactical officer's voice cracked with fear. "We're detecting artificial constructs in 73 systems. They're enormous, each one the size of a small moon." Vexthera felt her blood run cold. She pulled up the tactical display and gasped. Scattered throughout Confederation space were gigantic structures, sleek and beautiful, with lines that seemed to flow like living things. They pulsed with energy that made no sense according to known physics. "What are they?" she whispered. Ambassador Crattle materialized on the bridge through quantum relay. The insectoid diplomat's mandibles clicked rapidly, a sign of extreme agitation among her species. "Admiral, I'm receiving reports from every member world. These structures, they're not just appearing, they're coming online. Power readings are off our scales." On Earth, Sarah Chen walked through the memorial hall, where holographic images showed the faces of every human who had died during the purge. Billions of them, young and old, all sacrificed to buy time for the survivors to prepare. Their response? She stopped before the image of her great-grandfather, who had died piloting a decoy ship to protect the evacuation of Mars Colony 7. "Today, we honor you," she said softly. "Today, your sacrifice means something." The Gardner arrays had been humanity's most ambitious project, constructed in secret during the decades before the purge. Each one was a marvel of human engineering, capable of reshaping entire star systems. But they were not weapons of destruction. They were something far more terrifying to the rigid, hierarchical minds of the Confederation. They were instruments of creation. Dr. Webb's voice echoed through the command center. "Sarah, we're receiving acknowledgement signals from all arrays. The network is stable. We can begin whenever you're ready." Sarah took a deep breath. For 150 years, humanity had planned this moment. They had built their hidden cities, raised their children in secret, and perfected technology. That would have seemed like magic to their ancestors, all while the galaxy believed them dead. "Begin Phase 1, she commanded. Across the galaxy, the Gardner arrays came fully online. Each massive structure began to emit fields of organized energy that reached out to touch nearby worlds. On the Confederation's capital world of Nexus Prime, Administrator Turville watched in horror as his planet's poisoned atmosphere began to clear. The toxic storms that had raged for millennia suddenly calmed. The dead oceans started to shimmer with new life. "What's happening?" he demanded of his Science Council. "The atmospheric processors are working in reverse," his chief scientist stammered. "Something is cleaning our air, purifying our water, healing our soil. It's as if the planet itself is being reborn." Similar reports flooded in from every confederation. World, dying ecosystems were regenerating. Poisoned lands were becoming fertile. The very foundations of their civilization, built on the exploitation of resources and the abandonment of damaged worlds, were being challenged by an unseen force that seemed determined to heal rather than harm. On the flagship, Admiral Vex stared at the readings with growing understanding and dread. "They're not attacking us," she realized. "They're fixing us." The truth was becoming clear. Humanity had spent 150 years preparing not for revenge, but for restoration. The Gardner arrays were undoing centuries of environmental damage across Confederation space, making dead worlds bloom again, giving new life to species that had been extinct for generations. But there was a message in this gift, one that every alien leader understood. If humanity could heal worlds from across the galaxy with the touch of a button, what else could they do? What other technologies had they developed in their century and a half of hidden existence? Sarah Chen's voice suddenly filled every communication channel in Confederation space, transmitted simultaneously from every Gardner array. Her words were calm, measured, and more frightening than any threat. "Citizens of the galaxy," she began, "you believed you had eliminated humanity. You celebrated our extinction. You divided our worlds among yourselves and tried to erase us from history. But you underestimated something fundamental about our species. We do not simply survive. We adapt. We learn. We prepare." The transmission continued, showing images of thriving human cities, of children playing in gardens built in asteroid caverns, of scientists working on technologies that defied comprehension. "For 150 years, we have watched you. We have seen your worlds dying from neglect and pollution. We have observed your people suffering from diseases we cured centuries ago. We have witnessed the slow collapse of civilizations that chose stagnation over growth, and we have prepared our response." On Confederation worlds, beings who had never seen a living human stared at their screens in awe and terror. The supposed extinct species was not only alive, but had become something beyond their understanding. "We could have chosen revenge," Sarah's voice continued. "We had the power to turn your worlds to glass, to scatter your fleets like cosmic dust, but that would make us no better than you. Instead, we choose to show you what you destroyed when you tried to eliminate us. We choose to heal your worlds as a demonstration of what we could have shared had you chosen cooperation over conquest." The message ended with coordinates, locations throughout the galaxy where human representatives would meet with Confederation leaders to discuss the future. But the unspoken message was clear. Humanity held power beyond imagination, and they had chosen mercy over vengeance. This time, asterisk. "Send a message to all fleet commanders," she ordered quietly. "Stand down all weapons. Prepare for diplomatic contact, and may the ancestors forgive us for what we have done." In the depths of space, the Gardner arrays continued their work, breathing life into dead worlds while their human creators watched from the shadows, no longer hiding but not yet fully revealed. The galaxy would never be the same. Asterisk what humanity buried 3 days after the first transmission. The Confederation Council convened an emergency session on Nexus Prime, the chamber that had once echoed with confident declarations of human extinction, now buzzed with fearful whispers and desperate planning. Representatives from all 12 member species sat in their designated sections, their various forms of communication creating a cacophony of clicks, hisses, and electronic tones. General Maya Okafor materialized in the center of the chamber as a hologram, her dark skin and calm demeanor a stark contrast to the chaos around her. She wore the simple gray uniform of the Human Defense Corps, an organization the Confederation had believed destroyed over a century ago. Honored delegates, Maya's voice cut through the noise like a laser through fog. "I am General Maya Okafor, speaking on behalf of the United Human Colonies. You asked for a meeting. Here I am." Ambassador Kretl's mandibles clicked rapidly as she leaned forward. "General, your people's actions over the past 3 days have caused considerable panic throughout our space. Your technology is beyond our understanding. What do you want from us?" Maya's expression remained neutral, but those who knew humans well enough might have detected the faint smile at the corners of her mouth. "Want from you, Ambassador? I think you misunderstand the situation. We don't want anything from you. We're offering you something. Admiral Vexthera accessed her personal communicator. General, our scientists report that your arrays are not just healing our worlds. They're also scanning them, cataloging every resource, every population center, every defense installation. This feels less like a gift and more like preparation for conquest. You're partially correct, Maya admitted. We are cataloging everything, but not for conquest, for preservation. She gestured, and the holographic display shifted to show a three-dimensional map of the galaxy. Red markers indicated Confederation worlds, while blue showed the hidden human colonies. But most disturbing were the yellow markers scattered throughout both territories. These yellow indicators represent what we call dead zones, Maya explained. Regions where industrial pollution, resource depletion, or biological weapons have created conditions that will lead to total ecosystem collapse within the next 50 to 100 years. Your science councils know about these zones, but they've chosen to ignore them because the economic cost of restoration seemed too high. The chamber fell silent as delegates recognized the locations. Several worlds on the display were home systems of council members. According to our projections, Maya continued, 47% of current Confederation worlds will be uninhabitable within 2 generations. Your civilization is dying, slowly but inevitably. We're offering to prevent that. Commander Zorak, a young officer from the warrior species known as the Kethfi, stood abruptly. His people valued directness above all else. Human, speak plainly. What is the price for this assistance? Nothing in the galaxy comes without cost. Maya nodded approvingly. Finally, someone asking the right questions. The price is change. Fundamental. Change in how your civilization operates. The hologram shifted again, showing detailed schematics of human technology. Fusion reactors that produced no waste. Atmospheric processes that could transform toxic gases into breathable air. Terraforming systems that could make desert worlds bloom in decades rather than centuries. For 150 years, we've been developing what we call symbiotic technology, Maya explained. Instead of taking from worlds until they die, our systems work with natural processes to enhance and preserve them. We can teach you these techniques, share this knowledge freely, as we once did before you tried to eliminate us. And in return, Administrator Turville's voice carried the suspicion of someone who had spent centuries in political negotiations. In return, you dismantle the Confederation as it currently exists. The chamber erupted in angry voices. Threats were shouted in a dozen languages. Several delegates prepared to leave, but Maya's next words stopped them cold. Before you refuse, let me show you what happens if you don't accept. The holographic display changed to show a timeline projection. It started with current galactic civilization and moved forward year by year. Within 50 years, resource wars began breaking out between Confederation members. Within a century, several species had gone extinct. Within 2 centuries, the galaxy was a graveyard of dead worlds and scattered survivors. This isn't a threat, Maya said quietly. This is mathematics. Your current path leads to civilizational collapse. We're offering an alternative. Dr. Marcus Webb's image appeared beside Maya's as he joined the transmission from his laboratory on Europa. His aged face showed the weight of decades spent calculating the future. Delegates, I've spent my entire life studying the intersection of technology and society. The pattern is always the same. Civilizations that focus on extraction and control eventually consume themselves. Only those that learn to give back, to nurture rather than just take, survive in the long term. Elena Rodriguez, chief engineer of the Lazarus Project, materialized as a third hologram. Her hands were stained with the honest dirt of someone who built things rather than just commanded them. We've uploaded the complete technical specifications for our symbiotic technology to your databases, she announced. Agricultural systems that increase yield while improving soil health. Manufacturing processes that recycle at the molecular level. Energy systems that actually strengthen the environmental fields they tap into. It's all there, free for any species willing to implement it properly. Ambassador Kretel studied the data flowing across her personal display. This technology, it would revolutionize everything. Our entire economic system, our social structures, our relationships between species. You're asking us to rebuild our civilization from the ground up. Yes, Maya replied simply. Because your current civilization tried to commit genocide against us, and it's also committing slow suicide against itself. Change or die. Those are your options. But Commander Zark was studying the technical data with growing excitement. These systems, they would make resource conflicts obsolete. If every world could be made self-sufficient, if every species could thrive without taking from others, ... Exactly, Dr. Webb nodded. Scarcity economics only work when resources are actually scarce. When everyone has enough, the entire basis for conflict disappears. Admiral Vextera felt something she hadn't experienced in decades of military service. Hope. General Okafor, your people have every right to seek revenge against us. We tried to exterminate you. Why offer this gift instead? Maya's expression softened for the first time during the meeting. Because revenge would make us what we despise. And because we learned something during our years in hiding. The galaxy is vast enough for everyone to flourish, if we're smart enough to let it happen. She gestured to include all the delegates. Your species, all of them, have qualities we admire. The Kethvi honor system has prevented wars that could have devastated entire sectors. The crystalline Shalvex have mastered mathematics beyond our current understanding. The insectoid Kretel have organizational abilities that we're still trying to comprehend. You're not our enemies. You're potential partners we never got the chance to work with properly. The chamber fell quiet as delegates absorbed this perspective. For generations, they had been taught that different species were inherently competitive. That the galaxy was a zero-sum game where one species' gain meant another's loss. But there are conditions, Elena Rodriguez added. The technology we're sharing cannot be used for weapons, cannot be used to dominate other species, cannot be used to continue the old patterns of extraction and control. We'll be monitoring its implementation. And if we misuse it, Administrator Tervel asked. Maya's expression hardened. Then you'll discover what we built during our 150 years of apparent extinction besides healing technology. As if summoned by her words, new signatures appeared on every sensor across Confederation space. Massive constructs, even larger than the Gardner arrays, decloaked throughout the galaxy. They were beautiful and terrifying, clearly designed for purposes that went far beyond healing dead worlds. These are the Guardian platforms, Maya explained. They've been watching over every major population center in Confederation space for the past century. You never knew they were there because we didn't want you to know. Each one has the capability to disable every ship, every weapon, every piece of technology in an entire star system without harming a single living being. The message was clear. Humanity had the power to enforce their offer if necessary. But Maya's next words surprised everyone. However, we're not going to use them. We're going to give you the choice to change willingly, because forced change never lasts. And if you choose not to change, we'll simply withdraw our offer and let natural consequences take their course. Commander Zarok stood again, but this time his posture was respectful rather than aggressive. General, what would this new galaxy look like? How would it function? Maya smiled, the first genuine expression of warmth she had shown. Show them the projections. The holographic display transformed into a vision of the future. Worlds green and blue and vibrant with life. Ships powered by clean energy traveling between thriving colonies. Species working together on projects that benefited everyone, sharing knowledge and resources in ways that made everyone stronger. This is what we could build together, Maya said. A galaxy where every species has what it needs to flourish, where exploration and discovery take the place of conquest and exploitation, where the children of all our peoples can look up at the stars and see infinite possibilities instead of infinite threats. The debate that followed lasted for hours, but the outcome was never really in doubt. Faced with the choice between transformation and extinction, even the most conservative delegates found themselves voting for change. As the session ended and Maya's hologram prepared to fade, Admiral Vexthara made one final request. General, when this new federation is established, when our worlds are healed and our peoples are working together, what will become of humanity? What is your place in this new galaxy? Maya's smile was sad but hopeful. The same thing we always wanted, Admiral, to be explorers again, to push beyond known space and see what wonders wait among the distant stars. But this time, we won't be going alone. This time, we'll have partners. The hologram faded, leaving the delegates to contemplate a future none of them had imagined possible. Outside their windows, the first flowers in 1,000 years continued to bloom in the restored gardens of Nexus Prime. Proof that even the most damaged things could be healed with patience, wisdom, and hope. Humanity had tried peace once before. This time they had built something strong enough to make it last. Asterisk.